Compass Mobile is exactly like Compass Desktop. So it's the exact same website and everything like that. A lot of questions that we get from dealers are, is it an app? And the answer to that is no, it is not an app. So you are not going to find this at the Apple Store or Google Play or anything like that. It is a mobile website, okay? So it's optimized for cell phones. The reason we do it, so a lot of people ask us, so why isn't it an app? And really the best answer to that is, you guys probably all know this, but an app, one of the downfalls with an app is you spend a lot of time, resources, and money just keeping up with technology. So every time Apple comes out with their new iPhone, or Samsung comes out with their new Galaxy, or any other new phone comes out, or even a new platform that comes out, or an update to a new platform, every time something like that happens, you basically have app writers have to basically stop what they're doing at that point and then go backwards to keep up with the advances for that. So you spend a lot of time and money just keeping up with the Joneses. And instead of doing that, we decided to go with a mobile version. And that way, instead of spending our time doing that, we can spend our time and our money just developing and bringing on new things for Compass. With that said, we've had Compass in production for about 3.5 years right now. And you'll notice at the bottom of my screen, we got a maintenance notification. We're getting ready to put in our 109th iteration of Compass in just 3.5 years. So that gives you some kind of idea how often we're advancing Compass and adding new features. Like I said, for 3.5 years ago, Compass doesn't really look much like it does today because of all the new features that we've added. And we're going to continue on with that. So that's basically really the real main reason why we don't have an app. Now, with that said, you can get Compass to act like an app on your phones. So whether you're using Apple or whether you're using Google, there's different ways that you can go to, like in this case here, I'm looking at a Google Pixel, if you see it up here at the top of my screen. So on Google, if I use my Chrome to get to Compass on my phone, you'll see 3 little dots up here on the top. And if you click those 3 little dots, you'll get a dialog box that pops up. One of those options on there will be to add to home screen. And then it will place an icon for CMS Compass on your home screen. Apple works the exact same way. It's just a little bit different icon. You get the little square with the arrow pointing up. Click on that, choose to add it to home screen. Once you do that, you don't have to use your browser anymore to get to Compass, okay? You can just click on that, and it starts to act a whole lot more like an app. Like here, right on this section right here, this is exactly what a phone would look like if I used my icon from my home page. I don't have the URL or any of that stuff up there, so I get to add some more space to my screen. So that's really nice. So if you're using Compass Mobile, I highly suggest going ahead and downloading and putting that app or the icon onto your home screen. If you need some more instructions, our YouTube channel, CMS Compass YouTube, we have a couple videos on there on how to download. They're not Compass specific, but someone did shoot some or make some videos to show how that works. So you can go over to our Compass channel. We've got those in there, and they'll kind of walk you through it. But it's really pretty simple. If you're using Chrome on an Android device, you'll see the 3 little buttons or dots up here. Do that, and it'll drop down, and you'll be able to see the selection for add icon to home screen. And again, the same thing with the Apple, does the same thing. It's just a little bit different icon. So, like I said, Compass works just like the desktop. You're probably going to hear me say that quite a bit. So your credentials are all exactly the same. So username, password, you'll enter that information. You've even got the selection for Remember Me. You can select that. And let's go ahead and get rid of the maintenance notification so it'll be gone. And then all we're going to need to do here at this point is hit log in. So once you log in to mobile, you're going to get to the home page. And the home page is going to load. Oops. So I forgot that I logged out on the messages tab. So the home page is going to load. And the home page for Compass Mobile is your accounts page, okay? So it's just like the desktop. You've got a little bit different selections up here at the top. You've got search results. Those are going to be basically anything I've ever searched for in my global search. My recently accessed accounts is what's going to populate by default. And then I also have my favorites. So any accounts that I've marked as my favorites will be here as well. Okay, so these are my buttons. They're the same thing. They're going to load 20 of your recently most accessed accounts, and they're going to be listed right here just in case you need those. Now for searching, it's just like using the global search on the desktop version. So right up here at the top of the screen, if I need to pull up an account, I can search by the CS number, the name, the address, the phone number, or incident number if CMS has left me a voicemail about a specific event. Our monitoring reps will leave an incident number, and at that point you can go ahead and choose that incident number and we'll pull up. Now if for some reason you can't find the account you're looking for by any of these right here, you do have all items as well, but I would caution you a little bit. If you're a dealer of some size and you've got some accounts with us, the all items will be a slower search because now it's going to look at every single database page to find matches for what you've entered the search. So it's nice as a backup if you can't find it, but you just want to be a little bit careful using that as your main search item. Okay, so basically all I have to do is if I type name, I don't know anything else about my customer except they start with Van, and I hit go. Now I go to my search results, and now I've got one single account that has Van in the name, and then I can go to that account if I wanted to. Okay, so we're going to jump over to the recently accessed accounts, and we're going to look at a couple of accounts here. So I found the account that I'm looking for. It's the Skywalker account. The CS number is Demo5150. Now I can go ahead and select that one, and you'll notice at the bottom of my screen, I've got a couple options that pop up. The first one is See Details, and the second one is Quick on Test. I'm going to circle back around and talk about Quick on Test in a little bit, and talk about that, how advantageous that icon is, or that option is for you. But first of all, we're going to go to See Details so that we can see the account information for the Skywalker account. So I do See Details, and the first thing you'll see up at the top is the location page in the blue. You'll see the customer's name, the address, the premises phone numbers, 1 and 2 if they're listed, and then also code word 1 and code word 2 is also listed right up there as well, separated by the comma. Now below that are all your database pages, and these are essentially the same database pages that you're seeing on the desktop version. The very first one is your details, and that's going to be the location details. So when we click on that, you're going to see location name, address, the rest of it, city, state, what county they're in. There's my code words. There's my custom value 1, 2, and 3 if we are using those. And then my premises phone numbers are listed down here at the bottom. Okay, if I need to make an update to this, now this is all up to, and my username that I have, I'm the owner, so I'm using this. So I have full access, just like I do on my desktop version. If you guys have technicians that are out there, maybe you don't have them with the edit ability, so maybe it could only be view only. It matches whatever it is on the desktop. So if you don't want your technicians, making updates to it, that's fine. We've got them. We can set them to web view, so all they can do is view and place accounts on test and that type of thing, check signals. But again, for my demo purposes, I'm the owner of my company, so I've got full rights. So you'll see the little edit links up there to the top. So if I need to update something on this account or this page, I click edit, and now everything opens up. Now, just to let you know, if anybody has done this before, and I know some people have, and they've come back to me and say, well, I can't update my address. It doesn't let me. I click in it doesn't let me. There's a selection right below the name, and it says update location address. We want that person to take that extra step to say, yes, I definitely need to update something in my address. So you toggle that on, and now the address section opens up. So in this case here, we found out that it's not actually Avenue, it's Way. So it's 1977 Holiday Way, or Hollywood Way. So we make that update. Everything else is good on this account. If there was some other changes, I could change those if I needed to. But otherwise, this is all good. So I can go ahead and hit save. I get a warning down at the bottom, just says, remember to review and update all your location information before you hit save. We did, and now you'll see it's live. So Hollywood Way is updated. It's on the database. Masterminds has now been updated for that. Okay? So that's your details page. Again, just the location information like it is on the desktop. The next link down is CS number, and really all it's showing you is this is a view-only page for mobile. It's just showing you the account number, the system type that's on the account, unit ID if it's a radio unit. Again, we talked a little bit about this last week on the reports. The unit ID is like the serial number for radio units if we're tracking that for you or if you're tracking it yourself. The unit ID is a field on the system type, and you can enter that information in. Now, again, it has to be done from either the desktop version or we can do it from our side in dealer support for you. But then you'd be able to see what that serial number is in the unit ID if you needed to. Panel type, again, I talked about this. This is the 5th week in a row I think I've mentioned panel type. It's not a required field, but we highly suggest using the panel type and entering what the panel type is. It just helps you out down the road if you have the panel types for every one of your accounts. So really, that's all you're seeing on CS number. The only other thing you can do on CS number tab is this is where you can make this a favorite or an unfavorite. So click it to make it, to remove it, and now you'll see that it's cleared out. Now if I want to make this my favorite again, I'll select it. You'll get the dialog box to make it your favorite, and you want to add it. And now you'll see it's solid again. So solid star means it's a favorite. So there's our CS number. Now the next one down is the map. Map works just like it does in the desktop version. One thing I want to point out on the map is if it's not a real address, which mine's not, 1977 Hollywood Way is probably not a real address, it's not finding it, it will then look at the zip code. That's what it's showing me right now, is basically Hollywood, California, and the zip code for that. Now, one of the things that we're a little bit different on than our old version, it's called Maps Mobile, is this is just a map. It's a Google map, but it's strictly just a map. So you cannot get your directions or anything like that from this page. We keep you inside the website. Whereas with Maps Mobile that we used to have, if you click the map on there, it would take you completely out of the app and into your map website, and then you could go ahead and get your directions there. But it was several steps to get back into the app at that point. This way, it shows you where it's at, you can get the address, and then later on you can open up your map icons on your phones and then get the address or get the directions if you needed to. But this is just a really quick snapshot of the location of it. And like I said, it keeps you inside the website, so it doesn't kick you out to go to a different website for the map. So the map is there. Our next one is going to be contacts. And again, just like it is on the desktop version, it's showing me my contacts. This is my call list at the top, and then other contacts like SMS or email notification contacts are going to be listed right below there. If there's some people that have passcodes on my account that aren't on the call list, like maybe a babysitter or a housekeeper or something like that, they would be listed under here under contacts. Now, I can do a couple different things from this page. Again, I have full access, so I'm able to do edits. So one of the things I can do is I can click the actions. So when I click actions, you're going to see the dialog box down here at the bottom. I can add a new contact if I want. I can delete a contact. I can reorder my call list. So what if I want to reorder my call list? I select that, and let's say Luke doesn't want Jason to be second on the call list anymore. He wants Yoda. He trusts Yoda more than Jason. All I have to do is click on Yoda, hold my mouse button, drag him up, and it's done. So it's applying the order right now. It's done. I don't have to hit save. I can go back, and now my call list has been updated. Okay, so it's very, very simple to reorder a call list. If I need to make an update to something, I can click on the contact I need to update. So I can click on Jason here, and now I can get in here. I can see the information that I've got. There's the PIN that he's using, so he's got his own passcode. There's his phone number. Again, if I need to make any edits, I can click the edit and then save at that point. So like I said, contacts are very, very simple. They're very similar or exactly like they are on the desktop side. And again, you may have technicians, I'm talking about only doing view only. You may have technicians who say, you know what, I don't want them doing everything, but they can add zones or they can update zones and they can add contacts because they're sitting there talking to the customer right there and they can add them in there. So you could go ahead and give a technician the ability to do contacts and zones and maybe nothing else. Compass is very customizable. So if you just talk to dealer support or your business development support rep, we can customize permission roles to whatever you need. Okay, so if you only want them updating the contacts or you don't want your technician seeing the passcodes, we can even hide the passcodes for a certain person or for a certain user. So we can do a lot of different things for that. So I'll just kind of point that out right now as well. So our contacts are there. Our next one down is zones. And again, just like desktop, it's going to list my zones. So I've got 6 zones on this account. Very first one is front door. Here's my actions again. I click on actions, and now I can add a new zone. I can delete a zone. If I have a inactive account number on this location, like we placed it out of service and we added something else, I could get those zones from the inactive CS number if I wanted to. I don't on this particular account, so I don't need to use that. And I don't need to add a new zone or cancel a zone at this point, or a delete, so I'll go ahead and cancel. But let's say that I need to make an update to this, to the front door, how we're handling it, and how CMS is taking care of this account. We'll click on that zone, and we'll see. Here's the CS number. Here's zone 1. It's a front door. Right now it's being handled as a BUR025. Let's say, for example, I don't want that being handled. I don't want CMS calling on it anymore because I'm going to send a text message to Luke Skywalker every time zone 1 comes in. So I don't want anyone calling on that. So we just do simple edit. And I happen to know what the event ID is. You could do the event description down here and it will pull up the different ones. But I happen to know that 499 is my residential log only. And so I can change this by just typing in the event ID. It matches on the event description. There you see BUR 499. It's a bird, it's a residential, and it's a log only. So now all I have to do is hit save. That's going to update that zone. And now if zone 1 comes in, CMS isn't handling it. It's not dropping to an operator anymore, but we've got our, back on the contact list, we've got our homeowner set up for SMS text notifications on the bergs. So at that point, they can get that notification. CMS doesn't drop. So it's really, really easy to update zones. And again, maybe you don't want your technicians adding zones or changing zones. You know, again, we can customize a lot of that stuff for you, okay? So that's my zones. The next item down is going to be location activity. So this is the very first tab on the desktop version. It's basically the event history on the account. It's showing anything and everything that's happened on this account. It loads automatically the last 30 days with the latest event on top. So you can see here on May 18th, 2020, everything that happened. The last thing that happened was at 6:16 a.m. on this account where an SMS was sent. Now I can filter if I need to. So if I can't see everything I want to see in 30 days, I can click filter, and now I've got radio buttons for current day, last 3, last 7, all the way up to last 90. If that still doesn't make, if I need more than 90 days, I can click custom date range, and I can do my start and end date down here as well. Again, talked about this last week, going back to 18 months worth of history, okay? So we can go back exactly 18 months from today and get history on this account if we needed to. Okay, so there's our location activity. And again, that's everything that's happening on the account, whether it's operator actions, whether it's event history or signals, everything that happens on it will be on the location activity. Whereas I'm skipping one right here, but the next one is test history that I'll talk about. Test history is going to show every single time this account has ever been placed on test. Okay, and I can get the details on that. You can see yesterday, May 18th, we placed the account on test at 6:08. It expired at 6:16. Now, if I select that one, I can see everything that happened while that was on test. So this is my test history details, and I can see it was placed on test at 6:08. I got a zone 1, a zone 2, a zone 5, 3, 4, and a 6 all came in. So that's the test history details. Now, kind of take a snapshot of this in your mind. We're going to come back to this in a few seconds. I'm going to show you how this populates, and we're also going to talk about this second tab that's on the test history details. But I just want to show you what the test history details is. So this is always on the account. It's a little bit different than the location activity. It shows everything. This is just showing the test history. Okay, you can see here, if I keep scrolling down, this account has been placed on test a lot. And those events are always going to be on there. It's never going to disappear. So we'll go back to location again. And now we're going to talk a little bit about system tests. So there's a couple different ways you can place the account on test. You can do it from the details page if you want. And just like on the desktop version, I've got all zones, individual zones, or service types. So if I wanted all my zones to be on test, I can just click the box next to the CS number. It selects everything. I select my set time. And now I can do my start date, start time, end date, end time. I can put my comment in there if I want. We talked about this a couple weeks ago as well. I'm really high on adding comments of why you're placing the account on test because that gets logged and you can always come back to why it was placed on test at that time. Once I put that information in there, I go ahead and put place on test, and now the account is on test. Okay, so that's placing the entire system on test. The second is individual zones. So now if I want to do individual zones, I don't want to do the entire system. Let's say maybe I've got zone 1 front door that's kind of faulty. I can do just the individual zone. And I want to click on the blue arrow now, and now it shows me on the zone page I've got bergs and I've got fires. If you remember looking at the zone page earlier, you saw I had 4 bergs and I had 2 fire zones on there. So this is what it's listed. So I can click the blue arrow from my bergs. It's going to list all 4 of my berg zones on here. I can say, Give me zone 1 and give me that hallway motion too, because it keeps tripping as well. Now, same thing, I hit set time, and now I can place it on test as well. So this is looking only at the zone page. If I need to place a service type, so all my bergs, including the stuff that's on the service type, then I want to go to the system type, sorry. Then I go to the service type, and I can select my bergs, and then do my set time, and then place just the bergs on. So it will list all my service types here as well. Okay, so that's really your 3 ways of placing an account on test if you're on the location database page like we are right now. Again, we're going to go back to the quick on test. I'm going to show you how cool that feature is, but that's kind of a different way to place it on test in a much faster way. You saw that it took me several clicks, even to place the entire zone on test. I had to make a couple different clicks. I had to put my time and date and stuff like that in there, unless I left it to default. And so it takes just a few clicks. So I'm going to show you the quick on test and how much easier it is for the technicians to place the account on test and then start running their signals and making sure everything's okay at the site. Now the last couple pages we'll talk about here are dispatch instructions and the general dispatch instructions. Now I have a lot of people ask me about these, and the biggest difference is this. The general dispatch instruction is exactly what it says. It's general notes that are on every account that our monitoring reps are going to relay to either the dispatch agencies or the people on the contact list. Okay, in this case here for the Skywalker account, if I click on this page, you're going to see I've got a permanent general dispatch instructions page, and I can now look at the notes that are on this page. And again, these are notes that our monitoring reps at CMS are going to relay to the authorities or contact people. So in this case here, I've got gate code is 1977, and I've got the attack Wookiee on premises. So we want to give that information to the agencies. So if the police show up or the fire or the medical paramedics show up, they know if there's a Wookiee that's dangerous, that's on premises, so they need to kind of keep an eye out for that. So the general dispatch instructions are used for stuff like, gate access codes. If there's pets on premises, they'll use that. The subdivision of the premises, major cross street. This all type of stuff that a lot of 911 agencies will ask our monitoring reps as they're taking the notes. And that's really what you're using it for. I've got a couple of dealers that are very rural. They have very rural accounts up in the mountains, and they use this page for directions on how to get to the premise, so that we can relay that as well. So that's your general dispatch instructions. It's on every single account. Now, in the mobile version, I can't update this. This is a view only for my mobile, but you have access to it in the desktop version to make any kind of changes you want. You can add notes to it. You can remove notes, that type of thing. So general dispatch instructions are on every single account. Now, unlike that, the dispatch instructions, and this one doesn't even have it on there, dispatch instructions are special instructions on how to handle zones that are basically outside of our standard operating procedure. So let's say, for example, Mr. Skywalker, he's got some weird notes, and he says, hey, is zone 1 or zone 3 trips, I want you to call the premises first, then I want you to call the first, third, and fourth person on the call list, then go back to the second call list, then dispatch the police, then call the alarm company, and then call the premises again, but only do that on the second and third Tuesdays of the month. Otherwise, all other times, handle it just like normal. That's extreme, but we get instructions like that, believe it or not. And with the dispatch instructions, we can do that. So what we would end up doing for that is a view-only page in desktop and mobile. So you would call our dealer support department, and they would work with you, and they would get the dispatch instructions set up correctly. They would put the notes on there, they would tie the call list to it, and then they would tie those to the corresponding zones. So the nice thing about that is our operators, our monitoring reps, don't have to read notes. Mastermind will take care of everything, and it even knows if it's the second or third Tuesday, and it's going to react one way or the other. So the dispatch instructions are there. So they're there for you to kind of review. And again, if you had it on there, the technician could pull it up, or you can pull it up with your customer and say, now, is this exactly what you were looking for, Mr. Skywalker? These are the notes you want. This is the call string, call order you want. And you can kind of review that with them. But all edit, changes, adds, deletes, whatever, will be done by CMS reps, okay? So that's the difference between dispatch instructions. Not every account has dispatch instructions, obviously, because you don't have special instructions on every single account. Every account does have the general dispatch. The last page I'll look at is notes. So this is a page we added to Compass. We never had this in our old software. This is basically for you, the dealers, okay? You can use this Notes tab on the desktop version or the mobile version, and you just add notes to an account. And it might be just notes that you want other people in your company to know about. The customer doesn't see this information. If you run a location database report, this stuff doesn't come up. CMS doesn't see this information as well. Our monitoring reps, our dealer support reps will not see this information in Mastermind. It's just for your users that have a dealer login. Okay, so it's not for the end users or anything like that. And it can be used for different stuff. This one in particular has a don't call instructions. So we went in here and we added special instructions on do not call this customer, don't call the premises or the contacts when the third moon is rising over the horizon or when the Millennium Falcon is in the driveway. So now what our dealers are doing, our alarm companies are doing is they're teaching everyone that basically if you pull up an account, if your customer calls in or something like that, first thing you should do is go to the Notes tab to see if anyone else in the company has talked to them and if they've added any notes or anything like that in there. So again, you can use it. It's not required, but we had a lot of requests in our previous software to have some place that the dealers could log notes more than just the custom value field. So that's exactly what this tab is used for. And you can use it for anything you want. Some of them, people are doing it for like inspection dates, extended warranty stuff, location of the panel or the transformers and stuff like that. So you can use it for just pretty much anything you want. Just know that it's only people with a dealer login for your company that have access to it. So we'll back out of the location information. Now, so that's basically our database pages, okay? So a couple icons I want to point out down at the very bottom here. You'll see I could go back to the accounts page if I wanted to, but I've got my dashboard, and I've got my accounts, I've got tech help, and I got settings down here at the bottom. These icons are always at the bottom of your screen, okay? Now, if I want to go to my dashboard, the dashboard's a little more simplified in the mobile version than it is in the desktop version. And I can click on dashboard, and I can go to the 4 pages that I have available to me. I've got the service request, messages, on test, and alarm buffer. These work exactly like the desktop version. So I can go to service request. Nothing's shown for the last 3 days. That's why I have it defaulted to for my user. But I can filter it now, and I can go to the last 7 days. And this is what a lot of your on-call technicians might be using, right? They can always go to the dashboard, then go to service request if they're on call, and they can see anything that's happening. Right here on May 16th at 2:11 p.m., Garner Augustus had a service request, immediate service for Berg. So now, if I'm an on-call technician and I see this, I can click the blue arrow and I can go to see details, and that will take me to the location data or the location activity, so I can see any notes and see what happened to it, what events came place. But if I already know it, I called Garner Augustus already. They're good to go. I can go ahead and acknowledge that. You're about to acknowledge it, and now it's been acknowledged by me. So now my service manager the next day can look, and if they look at the service request, they can see that I acknowledged it, so I took care of it, so they don't have to worry about it. So it's real simple to acknowledge those. And again, that's what a lot of the on-call technicians are doing right now. Now this one in particular has a message center, so that's why you see a little bit different event IDs on here, but it works the exact same way. Even if you're not a message center dealer, you would see SRS, sub request service, and then you could just handle those the same way. So that's your service request. Messages are for message center dealers only. This is for like next day billing, next day sales, that information. So if you're not a message center dealer, you won't need to worry about that dashboard. On test is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to show any accounts that's all zones are on test or individual zones are on test. Okay, as you can see right now, nothing is on there for mine. And then the alarm buffer, again, like the desktop dashboard, active, and then past 24 hour will be loaded as well. So alarm buffer is showing me anything that dropped to a CMS operator. Okay, so it's not including like a log-only open and close signal or a log-only timer test or anything like that. Alarm buffer is only showing stuff that drops to an operator. Active would mean it's in the central station being handled right now, and then past 24 hours is self-explanatory. It's happened from this point back 24 hours, anything that's been handled. Okay, so that's my dashboard. Now the kind of cool thing about the dashboard is from anywhere in the mobile, a lot of people don't know this, but if you push and hold the dashboard, the little house icon, you're going to see the dialog box pop up, and now from anywhere in here, I can go to whatever page I want to. So if I'm that on-call technician in the middle of the night, and I just looked at the location database details and the activity and stuff like that, I can press that house icon, hold it, and wait for this to pop up, and then go right back to my service request. So instead of having to back up all the way to get to where I wanted to go, I can just press and hold that. So the dashboard house does that, or logo does that. The other one does it is the accounts. So if I press and hold, I've got search results, recently accessed, and I've got favorites. Okay, so if I want to go back to my recently accessed, I can now do that. I just click right here. And again, I don't have to use the back arrow that's up here in the top of the corner if I need to get to a certain page. So a lot of people don't know about those little cheats that we added in there, but the dashboard and the accounts both have that in there. So now let's talk about quick on test. Okay, I think this is a really cool feature. This is something we kind of brought out last year, and a lot of complaints, not complaints, but suggestions that we had from technicians was it took too long or it was too lengthy to place an account on test. So instead, they would call dealer support to place it on test. Then they'd call dealer support to check signals again, and then that became a very lengthy process. So what we did with Compass for the mobile version is we created this quick on test. And so with quick on test, I can now search for an account. So we're going to do the Skywalker account again. We search for it, we found it, we select it, and now instead of doing see details, I'm going to select quick on test. So when I do select quick on test, it is immediately on test. You can see right up here in the banner that it says when it started on test, May 19th, 2020 at 12:33. This account is in California, so it's 3 hours behind us. And it immediately put it on test for 1 hour. So my test category is set for 1 hour. Almost everybody's test categories is set for 1 hour. But you may have some technicians that, you know, do different things for you. So like a service technician, he might be fine for an hour default. But if you've got some guys that do some installs, they may take 2 or 3 or 4 hours to do a full install. So if you want them defaulting on the quick on test, if you want them to default to 2 hours or 4 hours, we can do that. We have test categories set up. You just need to let us know what you want that default time to be. And we can do 1, 2, 4, 6, or 8. And then the maximum amount of time stays the exact same on all of them. Okay, and that's 6 months is what the maximum amount of time is. We don't go over 6 months allowed for desktop or mobile. So if you got, and you can have it for different technicians. Again, if you have a service technician, 1 hour may be fine for him. You got 2 or 3 install guys, they want to have 4 hours, so you go ahead and set them to 4 hours. Just call dealer support or your BDSRs, let them know the users we need to update for you, and we can get those updated. And then when they do that quick on test, it will automatically set it on test for that length of time. Okay, so we've got that right up here in the top corner, or top page. Start time and end time, it's already on test. So now we're back to the test history details page. Remember we were looking at this earlier, and it was showing some zones. Now, I've got it on test. I'm my technician. I can go ahead and start arming. I can arm my system, and I can do my walk test. And basically all I have to do, you know, is I walk around, and let's say I go to the front door, and I go ahead and let's trip the front door. Now, as soon as I trip the front door, you guys don't hear the siren rolling in the back, but it just tripped. Now you can see my page just automatically updated, and the front door shows in bright purple, and you can see in the history, front door just came in at 12:35:56. That purple banner is going to hold there for just a couple seconds. Now, I can walk to my back door, and since I'm doing this, and I'm going to go back here, and let's go ahead and see if we can trip zone 2. So we're going to go ahead and trip zone 2. The siren's going off again, and here in about 2 seconds, it's going to populate on my page, and you're going to see I've got my phone in front of me. Boom, rear door just populates. Again, this is auto refreshing. The technician's not having to do anything to this except go and trip the sensors. So that's how quick this loads in here, and it's almost real time. So this is kind of cool because it is showing the test history details, right? But the tab that I wanted there, the button that I want to show you is what's called the test results. So if I click on test results, now I'm looking at basically a snapshot of my zone page, and I'm seeing if these zones have come in during this test period. So green means yes, red means no. So I can look at this real quickly, and I can see front doors come in, rear doors come in, but nothing else has come in. So now I'm going to go down the hallway, and I'm going to see if I can trip the motion, and do that. And as I'm doing that, it should, again, this page is going to auto refresh just like my test history. And this red X, once that zone 3 hits CMS, it's going to, excuse me, it's going to change to a green check as well. So boom, there's my green check for zone 3. So now all I need to do is go ahead and trip zone 4, zone 5, zone 6, and then I'm good to go because I've got 6 check marked and I know that I've tested all my zones that I need to test. So that's a really nice feature to do. Now you've got some accounts out there, you know, this is a basic residential, not a lot of zones. You may have some big homes or some commercial applications that have several zones on the zone page. So we added a toggle on here and it says show not received. So if I turn this toggle on, now it's only going to show me the zones that have not come in. So now my goal as a technician is to get this page to be blank, right? So I want to go ahead and I want to test everything until I can go till it's blank. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trip zone 4. That's the master bedroom. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trip zone 5. That's my heat detector in the kitchen. And then whatever I need to do to test my CO detector, I'm also going to do that because I definitely want to make sure that gets tested as well. So I'm going to go ahead and test that as well. And as those come in, I don't get the green check on this page. They're just going to disappear. So as I'm doing that, these are going to come in. They're supposed to come in. Let me check my event history to make sure they're coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got a little bit of delay right now. Gotta love technology. There. Oh, okay. So just a little bit of delay. Actually, almost a full minute delay on those 3 signals coming in. So now, as a technician, you see I've got no test results available. All my zones have reported. If I untag this bar, now you'll see all 6 of my green arrows on here. I can go to my test history, and I can see here that I did zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all came in. Now, at that point, I'm good to go, right? I've tested everything in successfully. Here's my snapshot. It's never going away from anywhere. The office can pull this back up if they need to give to the customer to show them that all zones came in. Now, at that point, all I need to do is go to my actions, and now I can go ahead and clear my test. If I needed to extend the test at this point, I could extend the test and do a couple more, but I don't need to. I can go ahead and hit clear test, and now the account is back live and active. Okay, so that's the quick on test. And again, if I push hold this, I can get back to the recently accessed a lot quicker than hitting my arrows. Now I'm right back to my main page. Okay, so quick on test. We really think that, and we've gotten feedback from technicians that are using this. This has kind of been a game changer for us because the guys that were calling into dealer support a lot because they felt like it took too many steps to get the account on test and then to check signals and stuff like that. Because before they were having, it wasn't auto refreshing. You have to pull the screen down. You would do something like this, pull the refresh, and you'd have to sit there and wait for it to refresh. Now that page auto refreshes. It's there for you. You don't have to do anything else with it except just verify on the screen that all those signals are coming in. Okay, so that's really the big thing that we're wanting people to see is the quick on test. And again, I've got dealers that do still like calling dealer support, but in the same time frame, sometimes they say, well, you know, I'll call and then zone 3 or zone 4, they don't read that off. So then I got to hang up the phone. I go trip zone 3 again. Then I have to call again. Well, this eliminates all that. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to make those phone calls. You don't have to give the passcode. You don't have to your name, the account number, and all that stuff. You're right there on the phone looking at the information and getting to it a lot quicker. So that's a quick on test. If you have questions about quick on test, or you need to change the test category, again, call dealer support or call your BDSRs, and we'll get you or your technicians all squared away with that. So the last couple things I'll talk about here real quick, and I'll let you guys go. Tech help is down here. This is just like the tech help in the desktop. You know, if you click on this, it's going to take you to the page, and we have basically not every single panel that's out there, but we have an awful lot of panels alarm panels that are out there. The installation manuals, the guides are all there, just kind of to help you out. So if you were ever in a situation where you're taking over an account, customer doesn't want to pay for a new panel, you're not real familiar with an Ademco Vista 20P, you could go to the tech help, pull up Vista P, and then your technician would be able to kind of walk himself through reprogramming that and staying with the Vista P and not having to charge the customer for that. So that's really the benefit of the tech help. And again, it's on the mobile version and it's on the desktop version. And then last but not least is your settings. So you're going to click on your settings for a couple different things. As a mobile user, you can go into your My Profile and you can update your passcode. You can update your email address if you needed to do that. Your security questions are all going to be right there under My Profile as well. Also, the first time you ever log into Compass, you get a quick tutorial, but it's also saved here. Most of the people, including myself, I skip right out of the quick tutorial because I know everything, or at least I think I do. So I always skip the quick tutorial, but we keep it here so that if you ever need to see it again, you can always go back here, click the blue arrow, and it will open up the tutorial, and you can kind of walk through the quick pages and stuff like that on how to find things. And then last but not least is Logout of Cms Compass. And so basically, if you don't log out, which if you're like me, I don't log out of apps or mobile sites and stuff like that on my phone. I just close them or I go back to my home screen or whatever. After 2 hours, it's going to log you out. So if you don't log out, just know that after 2 hours, it's going to log you out and kick you out. You'll have to log back in the next time. But if you don't log out and you just go back to your home page, and then you start doing something else, if you need to pull Compass back up and it's not been 2 hours, it's going to keep it there for you. You won't have to log in anymore. As long as you're logging back or doing something within 2 hours, you don't have to worry about doing that. Otherwise, if you're done for the day, you're wiped out, you can go ahead and just click the log out of Compass, and then it's going to take you out, and it's going to bring you right back to the log on page. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. That is the mobile version of Compass. And